Hello. Hello, everyone. It's Cindy Sheridan, and we have Dr. Pamela George, and we're excited to see you again. Uh, we know, like, we did a video last week for Joy Talk Show Live, and thank you so much for all of the feedback and the likes on that video. It's just very overwhelming to see your enthusiasm and support for our books and for our discussion on joy. So um, we're doing a follow-up video today to give a little bit more insight, joy in during a loss. So, I have had a few friends that have experienced loss lately, and grief is hard. Grief is really hard, and the after I lost my husband, I went on a heart healing journey and um, found that I've heard people say that grief is love with nowhere to go. And I think it's true. Your heart wants to continue to express love for this person, but you can't do it physically. So you have to find another way to express that love for that person. And who better than the creator of love than God?
Yeah.
So Dr. Pam, I want to hear more about how we can like secure joy,
Yeah.
like when we're going through a loss.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy, for sharing. You and I have been on this journey, and God's put it on our hearts to write books on joy. And it's such an honor for me to be in your presence and how you are looking for joy in the midst of loss and grief. And I know you were sharing about people in your life that are experiencing loss, and all our responses from the little Instagram live that we did recently, where we talked about the first S in Sparkle. Sparkle is all about your 7-step guide to a joy-infused life. And the first step is secure love. So I love your quote about grief is love, not knowing where to go. And we have uh, we have God right there with us. And in the same way, last in our Instagram live, we talked about insecurity, fear, anxiety, all these thieves of our joy. And for us to have a secure love, a place to go, we need some practices that will help us access that secure core time, like I call it, because I know that when I do exercises at my age, a lot of people say focus on your core. Your core needs to be strong. And I think about spiritually, our core needs to be strong too. So I've created a secure core time, and it's very simple. It's a no-brainer, but sometimes we can let our anxieties and our fears and the grief overwhelm us rather than joy. And for me personally, I have an anxious attachment style. So sometimes I can feel a threat or sense an unease, even when everything seems fine on the surface. It's like this low hum of anxiety that's always there, waiting to spike at the smallest trigger. So yesterday was one of those days where I found myself caught up in this anxious loop, and I was replaying this hurtful situation that happened a few days ago. It wasn't a huge event, but it kind of stung, and I couldn't shake that feeling of injustice and pain. And that little hurt was zapping my joy, gnawing at the edges of
Mm.
my peace. And I felt this tense, my mind racing. It was as if the air around me was growing heavier. And so that's when I knew, okay, when we start practicing and looking for joy, we can sense when joy is seeping out. And I call it like leaky cisterns of joy. And that's when we need to go and have that secure core time. So this is what I did, where I needed to root myself back in God's love and allow his presence to be my refuge. So I just found a quiet
Mm.
spot, sat down, closed my eyes. I took a few deep breaths to get my nervous system down. feeling my shoulders drop as I exhaled. I imagined this peaceful, light-filled space where God was present with me, His love surrounding me like a warm, protective blanket. Then I began to talk to God honestly. God, this feeling is not going away. I'm anxious. I don't want to hold on to this hurt. It is clinging to me. And I just let the words flow, not worrying about saying the right thing, just being real. Then I paused and breathed slowly and deeply, waiting in expectation. And it wasn't like the release was immediate, but then so I actually called a friend and talked to her, but then a day later, God actually released that sense of anxiety. And I could hear him say, "You don't have to carry this alone. Let it go. Let me fill that space with joy." And I felt this
Mm.
subtle shift in my heart of this heaviness started to ease. And I actually got a different view of that whole situation. It's like my eyes were opened. And even though the situation hadn't changed, I had changed. My heart was lighter. The joy that I thought, was lost had begun to return. So this small practice of secure core time has become my bridge from anxiety to peace, from pain to joy. And I just wanted to offer that to our audience to just take a moment when you growing in our awareness of our joy seeping out, and we don't have to let anxiety, fear, grief just stay. We can be real and let God's presence envelope us and give us peace and joy. So it's so accessible, and that's what our book is all about.
I love that. That is so good. Like, I am going to use that technique of securing my core every day. That's such a great tool to have. Where can we find your book? Where can everyone find your book?
Thanks for asking. I know some of our viewers on Instagram were asking, and Sparkle is found in where books are sold in Barnes and Noble. You can actually even buy it in Amazon right now. So just look up Sparkle, your 7-step guide to a joy-infused life. And I'm Pam George, and I would love to hear from you. So thank you for this time, Cindy, and thank you for just your heart to serve our audience so beautifully.
Oh, it's with much joy that I love doing this. Like,
yes.
I just love to be able to share and see people joy comes into their heart, and they have like a revelation and some peace.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. And both Cindy and I, we want to be able to give you little snippets of practical tools to just infuse joy into your life. So that's what Joy Talk Show is all about. And so stay tuned, and we will be posting it on our Facebook and Instagram page. So that's where you can find us. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Thank you.